What's up guys? In today's video I want to discuss Eilers International, and more specifically, some of the issues that management have recently decided to directly address in a response to queries from shareholders on the Eilers Discord. There was a few questions and answers published in the investors data room of the Eilers website, but for a few of these points I want to give you my opinions and hopefully add a little bit more detail to this with a little bit of context. And I will look at the charts later in this video too and give you my thoughts on what will happen over the next few weeks. So if you enjoy my Eilers videos and want me to create regular updates, then can I ask you to smash the like button. Last week's Eilers video got over 350 likes, so thank you to everyone who watched and liked that video. I'm aiming to get over 300 likes again on this video. Help me achieve that goal. It literally costs you nothing, but it helps me out so much. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the bell notification so you never miss a video with the potential to make you money. I want to point out that I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. Now let's get into today's video. First, the auditor report. A few days ago, the auditor review report was shared on the Eilers website. The company's auditors, PARA, have reviewed all the interim financial statements and based on these reviews are not aware of any material modifications that should be made to the financial statements for them to conform with accounting principles generally accepted in the US, except for these 2 points, which is basically balances carried over from the previous years may be required to be updated and the comparative information for the first 6 months of 2021. Remember that the current Eilers team took over the company in late 2020, so this is for information from before the takeover and comparative information for the first 6 months of their time in charge. I don't think there's anything too unusual about this and not something that I would consider to be a red flag. Now, as it says here, this is just a review of the interim statements. The auditors have not given an audit opinion, because this is outside the scope of the review, but have said that they are not aware of any material modifications that need to be made to the financial statements. So this is a positive development, but nothing major to be honest. It's good that the auditors have not found anything that we need to be worried about, but it's also worth noting that the scope of these reviews is quite limited and therefore we need to see a full audit review and report for everything to be confirmed. That will mean that we have to wait for the full year audit, but this is a good start to the process. But now for the main point that I want to look at, which is where JP Backwell has answered several shareholder concerns. This document was released on the Eilers website earlier in the week, but I will look over this quickly now. So the first point on this is regarding how long it is taking for the audit to be completed. So it says here that the 2020 audit is completed and the 2021 audit is expected to be completed by the end of this month, after which they will file the Form 10 to go through the process of becoming fully reporting. The Form 10 is just awaiting the final audited figures to be filled in. And one of the points that is mentioned here is a very valid one. Something that I see a lot recently being used to discredit everything that the company has achieved is that the quarterly reports are not audited. It says here in black and white, audits take place on an annual and not quarterly basis. Therefore, it is unreasonable to expect the Q2 financials to be fully audited. However, we took the step of having our auditor review the financials and approve them to confirm their legitimacy. I really don't think any more could be asked of Eilers in this regard, and we should have a full audit report within the next couple of days now, so I look forward to this. And this also addresses the question of the 2 phases of the European deal that are due to be completed in early 2022. Now there is a lot written here regarding this, but basically in black and white, phase 1 of the EU deal has been delayed because Eilers opted to purchase a larger property outright. Owning a large facility outright and obtaining higher government incentives is more beneficial to the long-term value of the business, but means that they are adding substantially more value. While the phase 2 deal is delayed and put on hold due to political reasons and the fact that the larger phase 1 site which offers more capability than originally planned. Now moving on to point 3, which is very important. This is something that we don't see enough of in my opinion on the OTC market. Management actually did proper due diligence on an acquisition and chose to walk away from a deal that they weren't 100% convinced about. As it says here about the acquisition of Precision Powered Products, we found information which meant that we would not pay the originally agreed price for the business. So they just walked away from the deal. This is the kind of management decision that gives me confidence in Nick and JP. Walking away from any previously announced acquisition is always seen negatively and always has a negative effect on the share price. But in the long term, this is the best thing to do in these circumstances. And again, it's a very similar story for point 4 here. Some acquisitions are not happening because the alternative deals Some acquisitions are not happening because of alternative deals that add more value for the cost. While some have failed due diligence, this is normal in any merger and acquisitions company, and we probably wouldn't even know about these deals only for Islet's management keep everyone updated regularly. Now the next two questions here are regarding the share structure and the conversion of preferred shares. There is a lot written here, and I highly encourage anyone to have a good read of this letter if you have not already done so, and then reread it again and make sure that you understand every point that is on here. But these two lines sum up this concern perfectly. Nick and other insiders are not selling and have zero intention of selling for the very long-term foreseeable future. Management have a 10 to 20 year view of building Islet into a global brand. Selling shares in the short term or medium term makes absolutely no sense in light of the strategy. We are driven by the mission to build a long-term successful and sustainable company with multiple spin-outs, and this motivates and incentivizes us along the route towards becoming a truly global brand. And the last point that I want to talk about here is the rumor that Brett Rosen of Orbi Capital acquired his shares in Islet at a cost of 0.001. Now this has come about in part due to a clerical error where Islet have now amended and updated their disclosures, but also due to confusion over share value and a share's par value. Now it's very important to understand that there is a huge difference between a share's market value and a share's par value. Islet is currently about 6 cents, and at its high point was about 50 cents, but at all times the par value has remained at 0.001 per share. Now this has absolutely no impact whatsoever on the value of the shares. And to further make my point here, let's just take a look at Tesla, a company worth close to $1 trillion whose current share price is 288. But look at Tesla's most recent annual report. Stockholder equity, common stock, 0.001 par value. And this is not unusual at all. Even if we look at Apple stock, 0.0001, this is despite these being some of the biggest companies in the world. So Islet's par value of 0.001 is completely irrelevant. Of course, on the other hand, did Brett Rosen pay the market price, or did he get a good deal on the shares of Islet? Yes, he got a great deal. He effectively paid 1 cent per share. But it is what it is. If anyone remembers back to last year when Islet's management needed to find a way to get rid of GPL notes, after GPL was charged with fraud by the SEC, a solution needed to be found. And in February, Islet confirmed signing 3 funding deals for a total of $15 million, putting the company in a strong cash position to execute its plans, with some of the funding to be used to remove GPL Ventures and completely remove them as a note holder from the company. Islet reached an agreement with GPL to settle the debt on suitable terms, and this debt was settled out of the current phase of funding. So in reality, Orbi Capital got a very good deal on Islet shares at a time when Islet really needed it. This is how these venture capital firms work, and as I said a moment ago, it is what it is. Now, looking at the charts, we can see that Islet hit its low point early last week, and then once the amended disclosures were filed, with the audit review and the questions and answers that we just looked at, we can see that the share price began to move back up again. As long as what management have said is true, then this coming week should see the filing of the audit reports for 2020 and 2021, and then later the Form 10. This should see renewed interest in the stock, a stock that only a few months ago had trading volume of over 10 or 20 times what we have been seeing recently. Now there is a lot of FUD recently surrounding the stock, but hopefully these filings should clear up a lot of that. As I have said many times, Islet's management seem to be one of the best out there for communicating with shareholders, so with Wednesday being the end of the month, we should see these filings in the next few days. So guys, what did you think of that? Drop a comment and let me know what you think and what you expect from next week. Do you agree or disagree with anything that I've said? These videos give me the platform to share my opinions with you. The comment section allows you to share your opinion directly with me, so let me know what you think. But remember that I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. Remember to check out my Twitter at PaulTInvesting, and I'll see you in the next update video.